Hey guys, what's up? I wanted to go through this play because it's getting a lot of run, or you had getting a lot of run, gotten a lot of run during the game for a very specific sideline shot of Rodgers talking or screaming at the sideline, rather. So the way this plays out, as you know, and as we'll see, I don't have the broadcast view up, but we'll kind of get through it. Is Rodgers throwing low to Dobbs on 3rd and 2, and then looking and screaming, "What is going on?" with some more colorful language in there. And during the broadcast, and I know the kind of the discourse has changed on this afterwards, but during the broadcast, the consensus seemed to be why is he yelling at his young receiver who dropped that ball? He dropped the ball was low, the throw was low, should have caught it. Why is he yelling at his receiver? Not yelling at his receiver, seemed to be yelling at the floor, or maybe someone else on the sideline, the offensive coordinator Stanovich or whoever, someone on the sideline. What is going on? All right, so let's look at this. So, this is 3rd and 2. Washington had just taken the lead. This is, as we always have up here, third quarter, 9:07 remaining. I covered up some of it, but 3rd and 2. They're in 11 personnel. They gain 0 yards on this play, so they end up punting. These are on their own side of the field here, so they need to get 2 yards. So what are we looking at? Here's what we know for sure. There's a lot of things unknown, and we're going to walk through a handful of them. So you've got trips over here to this side. This is Dobbs on the outside. No, this is Dobbs here. I'm sorry. Watkins here. I think that might be Torrey, if I'm not mistaken. Single back. So this is our 11 personnel. So 11 is one running back, one tight end, and then you assume the skill positions, which make up 5. So it's 3 wide receivers is what you're looking at. And so that is what we currently have. So 11 personnel, trip side over here. You have a running back offset, and you've got these guys pressed to the line. So to counter that, Packers are looking at, well, we don't know. And that's part of it. I don't know. You're looking at some of these releases, you're trying to figure out to the best of your ability what is going on. Not necessarily who's in the wrong, because I don't like to assign blame, but something's going on here. And we'll kind of look at that. So we've got on the outside, I think that's Toure again, kind of this deep in cutter, really deeper than a slant, but if you want to call it a slant, we can call it a slant. Just kind of does that. We're going to look at these 2 guys here because it's tough to tell exactly what it's supposed to be. Now, there's thoughts that maybe this was supposed to be a screen. You kind of block or make yourself big, and you get this quick turn by Watkins there. You're underneath. You're running that guy off the boundary there, and you need 2 yards. So Rodgers takes the one quick look, step back, looks to the side, complete it, pick up 2 yards, pick up 3 yards, whatever. Keep the chains moving. The other thought, this is the constant. Again, I'm assuming that the route on the outside is correct. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that's correct because that's one that doesn't look like an abject disaster. So that's what I'm going for. The other one that I could see would be from Watkins here as the 3 receivers. So again, you've got the way you count receivers in this trip set, 1, 2, 3. So Watkins at the 3, you are going to say, all right, Watkins, you're clearing out. Maybe you bend this in. You got to kind of break out and bend in because you're trying to create a little interference there, and you kind of run this little snag route inside. That's bad. So let's do this again. So we'll say kind of a breakout and up. You're trying to clear this, trying to make your body big. You're trying to drag this guy, but you're also slow playing it to get this guy where he can't get you. And then you kind of this in breaking right there underneath. That's a little better snag route there. So that's the other thought. And since they're up close to the line, some of that, that makes sense, kind of what they're trying to do. Either way there, honestly, I can see it either way, because you're trying to, you're running a guy off. You're doing a rub. You're not necessarily switch releasing, but in both of these cases, you're getting in the way, right? Because you've got these guys up. And so the closer you get these guys to the line, if you switch release, then you kind of cross some bodies, you're running these guys into each other because it looks like they're man up across the board. And so if you kind of, whatever, crisscross, smash into each other. So if you're doing this, if it's this screen, not a screen, but you're making yourself big and getting in his way, this guy, then you're forcing this guy to kind of run over the top because it's a quick turn here. So you're getting in the way. You're creating, I always want to say interference, even though interference is offensive pass interference is obviously a thing, but that's basically what you're doing. You're creating a little interference for this guy here. So if it's a screen, I can see it, man, because you're playing on the guy up there. If you're bending this out and going up, and then you're running this quick snag underneath, that works as well. Because if you're assume man coverage, that means you're clearing this guy out. Then this guy has to work through the vertical route while you slow play the snag. So either way, I don't particularly care what the call is. I can just see either way here. And again, the constant that we know on the outside, we got I guess it's Toure on the slant, post, whatever. We call it a deep slant. Now, Rodgers yells clearly afterwards, "What are we doing?" Well, we don't know. No one really knows. Because what happens, we're gonna watch this. Bum, 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 run it forward. Bum, bum, bum. Rodgers hits. He's getting ready now with his feet. He's getting ready. He's going to hit that back foot. He's ready to throw. Now Watkins is kind of who knows, man. Who knows, man. He's got his shoulder in. He's kind of. We'll look at his release here in a second because we kind of looked at Rodgers. He's kind of bodying this guy, and then he's looking to get vertical, and he's going to get this way. And honestly, it works for this. It works. I refuse to believe it's part of the plan because the spacing and the timing is all wrong. That's not part of the plan. Someone ran the wrong. Either Watkins or Dobbs ran the wrong route. Maybe both. Who knows? Maybe both. But he kind of gets, and then you get that crisscross action down the field, and Watkins is wide open down the field. Now again, not part of the play. Not what you're looking at. It's 3rd and 2. If you're looking to take a shot on 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2, you're basing it on something. You're playing off of that, and that's the read. You go through your drop. Then Rodgers will hit the top of his drop and go, I'm looking deep, and if it's not deep, I'm checking down low. This vertical route from Watkins, not part of the deal. It's not part of the deal. I don't know that it really tells you one way or another whether it's supposed to be a screen or you're hitting the snag. Doesn't really matter. What does matter is the spacing here. Again, he kind of bodies, and we'll look at that release in a second. He bodies a little bit. Dobbs is trying to get underneath, which he gets open. So we'll look at that in a second. He gets open, but the spacing's weird. He can't run through there because Watkins has run off that guy there and kind of walled him. So that timing there, where Rodgers getting ready to hit his back foot. Now let's say, for the sake of argument, let's say that Dobbs is in the right here. This is supposed to be a snag route. Rodgers supposed to get to the top of the drop, hit his foot here. He's getting ready. He's going to hit that back foot and then throw to wide open Dobbs because you're running this guy off. You're running that guy off. Or you're not running this guy off. This guy's here, but he's getting caught up in the wash of the vertical route, and you're running that guy off. That's basically what we're looking at. Rodgers hits his back foot. He's ready to throw. Dobbs is supposed to be here. Supposed to be here or coming out of the break when that ball's released. So you can catch the ball, get the 2 yards, keep the chains moving. Dobbs can't get there because of what Watkins is doing. Again, let's run it back for a second. So we'll look at Watkins. That's Watkins there again at the 3 receiver. He olays the guy. He kind of initiates contact and olays the guy. And then now Dobbs is left he's there in the middle. And we'll talk about that in a second. But you can see him where he's kind of he has to slow play this a little bit more than he would like to. And do I go underneath? Do I block that guy? I don't know. Then I have to go over top of the guy that we're actually running off of coverage because this is the guy here that you're taking vertical. So now Dobbs, the whole idea of kind of the crisscross stuff is to get the receivers to help pick off the defense. What happened was Watkins gets caught up in some stuff. Again, I don't know if this is on Watkins or Dobbs. I'm not casting blame here. Watkins gets caught up in this stuff and ends up being that Dobbs is the guy that gets rubbed off. He's the guy that gets rubbed off the route here. It's not the defender. It's the offensive guy. So Dobbs, you can see he has to kind of slow play it, and he gets over the top. He makes contact with the guy because he's trying to fight through. He's fighting over a screen that he's supposed to be the recipient of. And then he's sitting there. All right. We got through all that. Again, who knows if it's a screen? At this point, we're assuming the snag because that's what's here. That's what's open. Now, what do you have? You've run that guy off. You've run this guy off. Everything's peaches and cream, man. Look, he's right there. There's linebacker there. Now, this is where there's a couple things through this whole thing that get a little, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, because if this is supposed to be the snag and Rodgers, he has to double clutch because Dobbs is slow getting to his spot, you can still hit that. Now, if this is not supposed to be a snag, if that was supposed to be a screen, or if that was supposed to be kind of a pivot where he bends in and then bends out, Rodgers doesn't expect him to be sitting here. So you get a double clutch from Rodgers. We'll like to watch this in real time so we can see this in a second. The double clutch then becomes I don't know where he's going to be. Dobbs is settling in. There's a couple different ways I'm looking at this. Dobbs is settling in here. So he's ready for the ball. But in Rodgers' mind is, I don't know if he's going to stay there because maybe that's not the initial route. Now, the other thing is, and this is where I think for some of Rodgers' stuff, it's letting perfect be the enemy of good, especially with these young receivers, is that you expect them to be on the same level as you. I'm sure this stuff is coached up, but there's stuff Rodgers has seen. There's stuff that Rodgers is running that you need, receivers need to be on the same page as to get there. And they're clearly not there yet. And so for some of this, you'd like Rodgers just go, all right, man, listen, I'm putting the ball on, his hands are up. I'm sticking the ball on him. Now, the thing to consider here is the linebacker in the middle. So what Rodgers likely seeing, and we'll see it from the end zone angle, he starts by looking down the field. He starts the route, as a lot of quarterbacks do. You set your base. You set what you look at the pre-snap picture. What are the safeties doing? Post-snap picture. Look down the middle of the field. What are the safeties doing? What are the linebackers doing? So he sees this linebacker sitting here, right? So he sees the linebacker. He knows he's sitting there. Now, Rodgers might be thinking, let's say the snag route's fine. Let's say everything right there is perfect. Let's see Dobbs what he's supposed to do. He's a little late to his spot because he has to fight through contact, but whatever. That's what he's supposed to do. There's still the matter of this linebacker in the middle. And Rodgers may be thinking, listen, we got a big gain off of this. We've seen him do this before. If I throw to his outside shoulder, or if I move him, and instead of him sitting here, he leaks out over there, I hit Dobbs to his outside shoulder there, he can then turn up and run up. Again, I don't know if any of this is going through his mind. I'm saying this is what we've seen from Rodgers before. So instead of saying, I'm going to put this on Dobbs, I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give him a chance to leak out here, to get away from the middle, to get away from the linebacker, to get away from these guys. And if I hit him on his outside shoulder hit him there, it tells him he's to turn up field. And then you've got a ton of room to roam over there. Again, no, that's what's going on. But that's a potential thought here. So Rodgers knows linebackers in the middle. Dobbs is here. He's either not supposed to be here, or he's saying, I want to move him over here. So instead of just putting it on him, instead of just saying, I'm going to throw right to him, we've got the markers up here. If I put it on him, we've got the first down. Maybe we sacrifice a potential 15 or something, 10 to 15 yards if he leaks out and we throw it outside shoulder and he curls up the fielder. Maybe we're sacrificing some yards. That doesn't matter. Everything's ugly right now. Just put it on him. Instead of just putting it on him, and again, sure, there's a bunch of reasons for this. I just ran through a bunch of them. I don't need to reload to get all that. Instead of putting it on him, he says, I'm going to wait for a second, and I'm going to give him a beat, I'm going to pump fake it. I mean, give him a little double clutch, see if he moves. He never moves, and then by the time the ball comes out, there's a little more uncertainty. The line's breaking down a little bit more. You got this stuff's coming in on him. You got this guy breaking down on him. So it's a little more harried than it would be otherwise. Rodgers throws it low. Dobbs can't come up with it. Goes to fourth down. Packers punt. Then the scream of the silent. What are we doing? The what are we doing has nothing to do with the throw. Has nothing to do with Dobbs not coming up with a low throw. And again, for all of this, and I don't know exactly what's going on, for all of this, I'd say one of my big fault with Rodgers here would be like, he's a young guy. They had a miscommunication earlier. They're having multiple miscommunications a game. Put it on him, pick up the first down, keep running. Instead, it looks like he's trying to get him to do a little bit something else with it. So we'll run it full time, full speed. Then we'll look at it from the end zone angle. And we'll get out of here because you're tired of listening to me. So we'll say, here he goes. Bam, bam, bam. Dobbs is whatever. He's getting caught up in the wash. Rodgers schemes. You can see him, see his arms right there. This is a coaching angle. This is the good stuff here, man. This is not the broadcast. Arms to the sideline, looking over there. What are we doing here? And that's a good question. Because what are we doing here? And again, like the big thing you'll see off of this, and this is kind of one of those screenshot analysis stuff, is, well, if he just hits Sammy Watkins, this is a touchdown. That's true. That is a true statement. If he hits Sammy Watkins, that's a touchdown. He doesn't even know how to look for Sammy Watkins because Sammy Watkins is likely not supposed to be there. Because if Sammy Watkins is supposed to be there, that's Rodgers' first read on this. We're taking a shot. We're going for this on 3rd and 2. We've seen it already out of the Packers this year. That's not called. For whatever Watkins' role in this was supposed to be, I refuse to believe that going vertical was one of them. Until someone inside the building tells me that this was called, I refuse to believe it. So that's one that, yeah, if you look at this, maybe he's wide open. And maybe this is something that they look at later and go, listen, man, if we do something approximating this in the future, another like 3rd and short, 4th and short call without our guys running into each other, that shot may be there if these factors go in. So this might be something we still see going forward, but it's not a call here or else Watkins is the first read. So we'll look at the end zone angle. You can see a little bit from there. Here we go. Watkins on the inside there. Rodgers kind of looking around. Bang, bang, bang. He's ready to throw. Back foot hit, not there. Again, we see that linebacker in the middle. We saw him from the other angle. He's kind of leaning that way. Rodgers kind of double clutches that a little bit. Move, man, move. And then by the time he throws it, again, things are kind of breaking out around him. Yeah, this guy breaking in. This guy's kind of coming through, and then he dirts it. So not a good throw by Rodgers for sure. Ball needs to be up. But again, all the stuff that goes into it, wrong routes by at least one person, potentially two, who knows. And then also Rodgers at a certain point, I believe, letting perfect be the enemy of good, where instead of saying, I want this guy to do exactly what I want him to do, and I want him to know that I want him to fade outside, and then I want to throw to his outside shoulder so we can get those extra yards. Just put it on him. It's not 15 yards, it's 3 yards, but you get the first down, you keep moving. So that's something you kind of like to see going forward. But more than anything, you want to see that route stuff cleared up, because so far it's been a total mess, and it was a disaster here, regardless of who's in the wrong. Again, we're not casting blame here, but the fact those two guys ran into each other on a timing concept on third down, a 3-step concept where Rodgers hits that back foot, he's ready to throw, and the guy he's looking to throw to is not out of the break and is fighting over a pick that he's supposed to be kind of helping to set in order to kind of influence the defense. So not pretty all the way around, but I wanted to walk through it, and 16 minutes. No one cares. No one's going to listen to us. Just to kind of go through that to say, here's the bigger picture of this particular play. Take it or leave it, I guess. And based on the way things are going lately, you'll probably leave it, and that's perfectly fine. But thanks for spending a little bit of time with me, and I will